At 82, I've learned a lot about life, but there's one decision I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the right choice. My family encouraged it, assuring me I'd have all the care and comfort I needed. I believed them, but once I arrived, I quickly realized the reality was far from what I had imagined. Many people consider this option for themselves or a loved one, thinking it's the safest and most practical path. But before taking that step, I wish someone had told me what I'm about to share. Life in a nursing home isn't just about convenience, it changes everything. And once you're in, getting out isn't as simple as it sounds. That's why I want to share 6 things I wish I had known beforehand. The first and perhaps most painful regret is losing my independence. The biggest shock wasn't the small room, the fixed meal times, or the unfamiliar faces. It was losing control over my own life. Before I moved in, I had my routines. I chose when to wake up, what to eat, how to spend my day. I could take a walk when I pleased, cook my own meals, or simply relax in my favorite chair with a good book. Inside the nursing home, however, my time was no longer my own. Everything followed a schedule that wasn't mine. Breakfast was served whether I was hungry or not, and lights were turned off at a set time, whether I was ready for bed or not. Even taking a walk often required permission and waiting for someone to assist me. Simple decisions like what to wear or eat began to feel like privileges instead of personal choices. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you truly ready to give up the small freedoms that make life your own? Because once those freedoms are gone, you'll miss them more than you ever thought possible. One of the hardest truths about moving into a nursing home is realizing how easy it is to feel forgotten. The world outside keeps moving without you. When I first arrived, my family reassured me they'd visit often, and at first, they did. My daughter came weekly, and my grandchildren visited on weekends. For a little while, I felt like I still had a connection to my old life. But as time passed, the visits grew less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of coming, and my grandchildren got busy with school and work. Holidays were especially painful. Everyone promised they'd visit, but plans always seemed to change at the last minute. I found myself alone in the common room, watching other residents stare at the door, each of us silently hoping today would be the day someone remembered us. It wasn't that our families stopped loving us, life simply got in the way. When you're not around every day, it's easy for people to assume you're fine, that you're adjusting, that you don't need as much attention. But the truth is, the longer you're in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to forget just how much you still need them. I remember one evening sitting in my room, holding my phone, debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden or remind him that I was here, waiting for a visit that might never come. So I put the phone down, and that's when it hit me. This was my life now, watching the days go by, hoping someone would remember to include me. If you're thinking about moving into a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the loneliness? Because no matter how much your family loves you, the silence can become overwhelming. Once you're out of sight, it's easier than you think to become out of mind. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Now, let's move forward. Regret 3 is losing my sense of purpose. When I moved into the nursing home, I thought I was just changing where I lived. I didn't realize I was also changing why I lived. At home, I had responsibilities, routines, hobbies, and reasons to get up in the morning. Even the small things, watering plants, making my own coffee, tidying up, gave me purpose. But in the nursing home, those daily rituals vanished. Meals were prepared for me, cleaning was handled by staff, and the plants weren't mine anymore. At first, I welcomed the rest: no chores, no responsibilities. But within weeks, I felt something was missing. The days dragged on, filled with emptiness. I saw it in others. 2 residents who once brimmed with energy now sat idle, staring, waiting. There was George, 84, a lifelong carpenter who had always been building something at home. But here, with no tools or projects, he slowly withdrew. I feel useless, he told me one day, and I knew exactly what he meant. When you no longer have something to care for or work toward, life loses meaning. The mind slows, the body follows, and soon you feel like just another resident in a place where time moves, but nothing changes. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself what gives your life meaning, because once you're there, Purpose isn't found in passing time. It's something you'll have to fight to keep. Regret 4 is declining health faster than expected. Before moving into the nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could walk, cook, and take care of myself. My daily routines: grocery shopping, stretching, walking around kept me active. But once I moved in, things changed. At first, it seemed like I was just taking it easy. Meals were brought to me. If I needed something, I could push a button for help. But the less I did, the weaker I got. I moved less, sat more, and soon even getting up from a chair felt difficult. Years of strength disappeared in months. I saw it in others. 2 residents who once walked in now relied on wheelchairs. More help led to more dependency. I remember Alice, 81, lively and full of determination when she arrived. She walked daily, insisting she wouldn't slow down, but after a few months, she wasn't walking as much. Then came the walker, then the wheelchair. One day she said, "I feel like I aged 10 years in just a few months." And that's exactly how it felt. When you stop using your body, you start losing it. Nursing homes are designed for convenience, but real survival requires effort. If I had known how fast I'd lose my strength, I would have fought harder to stay active. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still be motivated to keep moving when everything is designed to make life effortless? Because once you slow down, getting back up isn't easy. If you're still watching and find this valuable, comment number 4 below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss future content. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful videos. Now let's talk about regret 5, the loss of privacy and dignity. One thing I didn't fully consider before moving into a nursing home was how much privacy I'd lose. At home, I had my own space. I could close my bedroom door, enjoy silence, and do things on my own terms. In a nursing home, privacy becomes a luxury. From the moment I arrived, I felt constantly watched. Staff came in and out, scheduled checks were routine, and shared spaces meant you were rarely alone. Even simple tasks like getting dressed or using the bathroom often required assistance. I knew they were just doing their job, but it was hard to accept help for things I had always done independently. In my first week, I struggled with the idea that I had to ask permission for basic things, like taking a shower or using the restroom. Sometimes I had to wait for someone to be available. It made me feel less human and more like a task to be managed. These small losses add up, and over time, they chip away at your dignity. If you're thinking about a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up your sense of independence for safety and care? Because privacy and dignity are easier to lose than you might think and harder to regain. Using the restroom sometimes meant pressing the call button and waiting far longer than you'd like. Even meals weren't flexible if you didn't like what was on the menu to bad. Then came the issue of roommates. Not everyone gets a private room, and sharing a space with someone you didn't choose can be frustrating. I was lucky to have a kind roommate, but others weren't so fortunate. Some dealt with loud or unclean individuals, or roommates with cognitive issues that made restful sleep nearly impossible. No matter how hard you try to make your room feel like home, it's never truly yours. Dignity is a hard thing to lose, and I didn't realize how much of mine I'd have to surrender until I was already there. People knock, but don't always wait before coming in. You're spoken to like a patient, not a person. Your days are run by a schedule you didn't create. Slowly, you start feeling less like yourself and more like just another name on a list. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the privacy and control you've had your whole life? Because once it's gone, it's hard to get back. I told myself moving in was temporary, I'd try it, and if I didn't like it, I could leave. What I didn't realize was how hard it would be to get out once I was in. Home wasn't the same anymore. My house sat empty, hard to maintain from a distance. My children had already started making changes, selling things, even thinking of renting it out. When I suggested returning, they hesitated. Are you sure you can manage on your own? Wouldn't it be safer to stay? They said they just wanted what was best for me. But meanwhile, my strength had declined. After months of not cooking, cleaning, or walking much, I wasn't as capable as I had been. The independence I once knew was slipping away, and the fear of managing alone kept me stuck. I met others who thought they'd only stay briefly, only to find that leaving wasn't easy. The longer you stay, the harder it is to go back. For some, that option disappears altogether. Their home sold, their savings drained. No one tells you that. It feels reversible, but often it's not. The nursing home becomes your whole world, and the outside life fades into a memory. Closing. I don't regret aging, but I do regret believing a nursing home was my only option. I expected comfort, safety, and better quality of life. Instead, I lost my independence, privacy, purpose, and even sense of self. That doesn't mean nursing homes are all bad. Some people genuinely need that level of care. But before making such a major decision, think carefully about what you're giving up. If I had a chance to do it over, I would have fought harder to stay in my own home, explored more ways to get help without giving up my freedom, and made absolutely sure I needed to be there before making such a permanent move. If you're facing this decision, ask yourself honestly, is this truly what's best for me? Or just what seems easiest right now? Because your life today, your routines, your independence, your choices is worth holding on to for as long as you can. Thank you for being here. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment sharing what you learned and how you plan to use it. Your voice matters to us. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue informing and inspiring others. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.